When I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Touchlinefracas. I am joined this evening by, all the big clubs are represented, I like to think. We'll start with the winners. Marco, how you doing, mate?
Champions. Yeah, I like that little round of applause, mate, still.
Cool.
Man's happy. Nice to bring it down.
Yeah.
It, man.
Round of applause normally suggests that all the people present are clapping, and as you can see, it was just me. So, yeah, good on you, mate. How you doing, man?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. We're there, man.
Yeah,
you know, Arsenal finally getting wins.
Yeah,
we're trying to live life a bit now, man. It's not too bad.
Feeling good, yeah. Sun's out, everything.
We're not feeling good, innit? We're still dead, innit? But you know, we've got to enjoy life now, man. We've got to carry on with it.
I hear you. Meads, how's it going, mate?
Can't complain, brother.
Good. Seb, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, man, just local in some weird position in my room, so it looks a bit mad. But
yeah, you look kind of stiff, but you know, you've got to give the people what they need. Cool. Before we start the pod, I'm just going to remind you all to sign up to our Discord community. Keeps growing every week. We're about 550 people on there now. We have loads of chat spaces where we engage in discussion about the matches, football, basketball, tennis, etc., etc. It just allows us to be closer to our community and our idea for it to keep growing. So yeah, sign up, join into the space. We host live match chats as well. We're going to be doing a few this week, which we'll be keeping you up to date with on the main Touchline account. Cool. Also, pods available on YouTube. You've got Mulgar, Main Pod, Jesse Hour, Touchy Gooners, Cop End. Yeah, check them out if you want to have a bit more visual stimulation and you can, see guys like Sevi or stiff up. But cool, let's go. Marco, I'm going to open the floor with you. Congratulations, champions. I don't know how old you are, but it's been a long time. Okay, so yeah, exactly.
30 years. 30 years, just let you know.
I've seen 26. It's cool, man. When was the last time your team won a major honours?
Fam, I've seen my team, yeah. I've seen my team win with the title, bro. Allow it, fam. It went black and white and that, bro.
Boys.
I know you're enjoying your thing now, yeah, but fam, listen.
Oh no, let's have some class, yeah?
All right. I'll pattern up.
Yeah.
Enjoy your win, Marco. Chill.
Come
on, let's give Marco a little card. Let's give him a little guard of honor. Go on.
Yeah. So that's how
go on. Look.
It's been a while, a long while. Talk us through your thoughts. Were you in the Discord space when the City and Chelsea game was going on?
Yeah, I was in the Discord space.
You were, yeah.
You were in the live match chat. Yeah,
you were
a bit early, so things were a bit fuzzy, but it was nice, man. I didn't expect to win it like that. I remember saying in the last pod that we were gonna beat Palace and then draw against City, and that's how we win the title. I'd prefer that, but the guard of honor more than makes up for it. Just in terms of the season, we've been top from the beginning of the season, but as a Liverpool fan, I know so many Liverpool fans listening here will just understand that we're always on edge because we've been in positions before where we shouldn't be dropping points or we shouldn't be losing, and the team has always been inconsistent, but this season we've been consistent throughout. The team's played great. I don't think Gomez and Van Dijk have lost the match that they started in together, which is amazing. Sadio Mane still hasn't lost a match at Anfield.
You say that. Like this season, how many of your players have lost matches? Full stop. Bar Atletico. Who knocked you out of the FA Cup?
Chelsea even.
Okay. Yeah. The Billy Gilmore game.
I won't even lie to you because we went out to Atletico Madrid. That was probably the low point of the season for me. Watford. It was probably that little stretch there where everything just went to shit, in my opinion. And I felt like, we could start dropping games now because confidence is down. But the lads are soldiers, man. You can literally tell what Klopp has done since not even Kiev, since we lost to Sevilla, and the mentality he's built in the squad. Like, he's made them watch Man City go up and lift the Community Shield in the beginning of the season so they know what losing feels like, so that they don't want to have that feeling again. And Klopp just, in general, has done a magnificent job with this rebuild, in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, I listened to the Cop End podcast, and I think it was the last pod. I think it was a pod before the one with Emil Heskey. You guys sounded pretty bullish in terms of being able to maintain the success. What are your thoughts? What do you think about Liverpool? Because I mean, at the moment you're within reach of getting the points record if you really want to push for it. So how do you think things look for Liverpool going forward?
Looking forward, it all depends on signings. I know there's going to be a lot of noise about signings this summer if we don't make any, but I know Klopp and the team at Liverpool know what they're doing. I feel like with our aging front line, we do need to refresh, but I see them trying to refresh with Minamino, someone else, and possibly Harvey Elliott and Brewster. I don't think any of them are ready to start next season. I feel like those are going to be long-term projects. Midfield is aging a bit itself. I think the starting midfield of Gini, Fab, and Henderson's 26, 29, 28, respectively. So we do need to freshen them up as well. But then again, we've got Naby in the wings. We've got Gokic, depending on whether he goes or stays.
Sorry. You've got who in the wings?
Marco Gokic, who's a bit younger.
No, not him. The person before that.
Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby.
No, Naby. Yeah, that's who I want to.
Yeah, Naby. That's my boy.
I mean, you're familiar with our platform, and I'm sure you've heard the. I'm sure you heard the Navcam. So please proceed with caution. But yeah, continue.
I mean, we've got people that we can improve on as well. I feel like Gini isn't the best for his role. Like, we can get better, but I do like Gini a lot, and I see what he brings to the team in other aspects. Just not his goal scoring. Like, he can get, and I don't understand completely why, but that's one of the things we just have to cope with.
He's a funny one because when you watch him when he plays for Holland, completely different player.
Exactly.
Completely different player.
Or being relieved of his shackles of defensive duty. I explained it in a pod quite a while back. I feel like it's because he uses so much of his energy to go back defensively. When he gets into the attacking third, his legs are so shot that he just does whatever he wants to do straight away. He tries to get the ball away from him. Defense and goalkeeper-wise, we're set up for quite a while. Nico's looking amazing. Nico Williams. I think we're going to get onto this later about this whole Trent, Reece James talk, but don't worry, we'll get into that a bit later. I feel like defense was set up for quite a while, and it's just refreshes. It depends who comes in and who goes out, but I feel like we're good for a minute.
Yeah, I don't think I can disagree. You've got a good squad age. Congratulations, man. We'll see it here. So obviously you've got City coming up. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen now? Do you think they're going to push for that point record, or do you see them kind of slipping up, or do you see them perhaps giving guys who haven't played a lot some more minutes? Because now you're out of the CL and the FA Cup. There isn't really, apart from that points record, there isn't much keeping you.
Yeah. So what Klopp has said is he really wanted to push for the points record, but there's matches every 3 or 4 days for us, so he would need to rotate quite a lot. As much as I do want to get the points record, I think it's 15 points out of a possible 21 to get the points record, so 101. I do want to see it because, especially being an asterisk season in people's minds, I want a record there, or I want to be able to win all games at Anfield. I want something of substance that people can't really chat shit about. Because objectively, people can say this is the COVID Cup, whatever. Personally, I'm not going to take that. That's nothing's taken away from me.
Yeah.
But just to justify it to other fans, I would like something there.
So, question. Obviously, we all have our natural rivalries across our club pods. How rattled do you guys get? Or speak for yourself, guess. Don't speak for the whole Liverpool fan base. How rattled do you get when you're getting drawn out on the timeline by fans of other clubs, etc., etc.?
Cool. So maybe 3 years ago, I used to be very, very rattled. Anybody draw me out, I was very reactive. I was on fire. Anybody talk shit, I'm there.
Yeah.
Now, because we're champions of Europe, champions of the world, champions of England, say whatever you want to say. I would just laugh. That's why on the live match chat, I was just literally laughing through it because nobody can take that away from me. Literally, I've seen them. I've gone to Madrid. I've seen my club. Even though it was a shit match, I was absolutely plastered. I've seen us win the Champions League. I've seen us win the Premier. I've witnessed hits.
Well, technically you didn't see, but yeah, go off.
I mean, I was there, so I saw.
No, you're talking about the Prem.
Prem.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically, but yeah, it's gonna be good enough. We're gonna go to the parade. We're gonna turn up.
You're gonna make it make sense, yeah.
Yeah, man's gonna enjoy the moment in itself. So, as much as people can say whatever they want, it doesn't really matter to me. I feel like, if anything, no fans can rattle me at the moment. So probably the past 2 years, no fans have been able to rattle me. Before, I had a little rivalry with Arsenal, and all the people that know me that are watching this pod know exactly why.
Yeah.
Me and Arsenal used to go back and forth quite a lot, but other than that, I'm cool, man. Everybody else is what it is, man.
Cool. It's like winning, isn't it? It just gives you you're just calm. Life is good. Only a few of us on this podcast can really relate to that, but we'll keep talking. I'm going to start with you because I think, objectively speaking, you guys have probably had the strongest week. You had a big challenge in the City game. You came through that, and you've also gotten through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup today. So, yeah, talk us through your opinion on the two performances, your thoughts going into the games as well. Let's start with the City game.
The City game, obviously, a lot of people are talking about, that's a done deal, and that Chelsea would lose the game. I wasn't too sure. I remember, Disu said, "Oh yeah, that's an L for Chelsea," and I wasn't really too sure because I had a different vibe. It's not that we're playing particularly well or anything. It's just that I feel like when Frank has come up unstuck against like the top sides, bar Manchester United, he's been able to like correct it. So, and especially in the first City match away from home, we played quite well, and we probably should have won the game. Definitely deserved to lose it. So, yeah, I didn't feel too sad. And plus, Aguero was injured, so I was hoping we'd get a draw or something. But the performance was fantastic, obviously. But when I saw the lineup, I can't lie, I was quite nervous because Kante is central defensive midfield by himself. There was Barkley and Mount in midfield. And, yeah, I just felt away. I can't lie, I felt away. Obviously, as you know, Willian's leaving at the end of the season, so I've just not been comfortable with him playing because, you know, his in terms of his hunger, desire, it's always been a bit higgy to me anyway. But the fact that he's leaving, it just makes me question, okay, is it sensible playing him, basically? But to be fair to him, he's come up trumps in the last two games in terms of getting a winning goal against City and obviously the assist today. But it was a good game. I thought it was probably that was probably the best Prem game since we've been back in terms of quality. But City did seem quite toothless. I don't remember them actually troubling our keeper. And you know me, when it comes to big games, I always say, look, if Kepa gets tested, then we're probably going to lose the game. So it's a testament to Chelsea's defensive resolute performance, really. But yeah. Oh, and obviously the goals, the quality of the goal. So Pulisic's goal was fucking amazing, to be honest. The way he stood up Mendy and almost almost tempted him in with that challenge. He slowed
down, but then he slowed down.
Tempted him in, and then obviously just dinked it past him, and the finish was ridiculous, to be honest. Like, completely curled it around the keeper. Unsavable. So it was a good performance. But I don't know. I was definitely nervous. I can't lie. I was nervous, but I wasn't expecting us to get an absolute toasting and pasting, to be fair. But Frank done tactically done a fantastic job still.
Cool. And how about today's game?
Today's game again is Leicester. So Leicester do trouble us, but at the same time in a cups, we tend to just get the result no matter what. And no matter how we play, we just tend to get the results. The first half was diabolical. The midfield was so bad. So bad. Like, and my biggest problem is when you're playing Kante in a game where you are supposed to be the dominant force, generally speaking, him playing as a defensive midfielder, a central defensive midfielder, to try and build play and sustain attacks, big issue. Big issues because his passing is so reserved and so safe and conservative that it becomes an issue when it comes to progress and play. And when you're getting pressed to death, because our players were getting pressed like nuts, the front three were pressing us to death. Kante can't turn, and he's too scared to turn out when he's getting pressed. So we just kept booting it along, and it kept coming back because Tammy Abraham isn't the greatest when it comes to hold-up play. So yeah, the midfield just kept getting snuffed. And I'll always say, I think even earlier in the season, I think Billy Gilmore had a game against, in the early rounds of the FA Cup, and he played in the number 8 position. And I think he came off again. No, actually, he came on as a sub against Sheffield United as a number 8, and he was poor. And we ended up drawing that game. And when I saw him in the team sheet again today, I'm thinking, okay, maybe Kante is going to play in like one of the advanced, not necessarily advanced, but in a number 8.
That's what I thought. Make closer to his usual kind of position.
And then I'm seeing him dropping to get the ball off the centre backs. I'm thinking, what? I was so angry. I can't lie. It was pissing me off because I was thinking, Frank, what are you actually doing here? Like, it doesn't actually make any sense. Gilmore, his best games have all come playing as a DM, a deep line playmaker. And even today, he was dropping back in. And when he was dropping back in to receive the ball from the centre backs, he looked a lot more comfortable. But when he was playing high up the pitch and trying to press people, his passing was slack, his touch was slack, everything was just poor. Everything was poor. So he rightfully got dragged. Right, a 1,000,000% got dragged. What do you think of his performance, Morayo?
Yeah, same. Nothing was connecting for him, which is quite odd because he's one of those kind of like, he uses the ball well, he's agile, he'll get it, pop it, link the play. So I was looking forward to seeing him. It was underwhelming. Marco touched on Reece James. Some people are calling him a combination of Trent defensively and Wan-Bissaka going forward. What do you think of his performance? I think that's in jest. I wouldn't take that seriously.
That's in jest.
Yeah, okay, of course. Yeah. And by some people, I mean me. But yeah. It
was such a bum. Yeah, his performance. To be perfectly honest, his performance surprised me because I think he came on against Manchester City. Was it Man City? I think he came on in one of the games, and I thought,
he wasn't looking like it.
I was like,
Villa.
nah.
It might have been Villa.
I think it was Villa.
Yeah, because I remember him. He looks sluggish.
Bro, he came on, I was like, nah, no, bro, nah, Because before that game, I was like, rah, why are we starting? But then it clicked in my mind. I'm like, okay, look, he started a training camp a week, 2 weeks later than everyone else because he was injured, ankle injury.
Okay, yeah. So it's two weeks behind everybody, yeah.
Right. So fitness, I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm still thinking, you know what? He's still probably better than Aspie. And to be fair to Aspie, since he's back from the break, he's been incredible. But yeah, when Reece came on against Villa, I was thinking, nah, no way, get off. I'm like, get off. So then I saw him today. So what? Villa was a week ago. So seeing him again today, I'm thinking, when I saw his name on the team sheet, I'm thinking, oh man, because I literally had a feeling because he looked so off the pace against Villa. Yeah. It was terrible. It was like a 5-10 minute cameo. And like they brought him on to show up the game. And he was just shocking.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Shocking. And he came on in midfield. It wasn't like he was playing at right back. He came on in midfield. So today, I was thinking against Harvey Barnes, I'm thinking, yeah, he's gonna be given problems. And again, he was just sluggish. His touch and everything was all right. But passing, defensive positioning, running back, just his basic acceleration was just shocking. Obviously, when he was able to maneuver himself into Barnes and like use his strength, he was able to like outmuscle him, of course. But when it came to speed and recovery speed, and that's one of Reece's fortes, that was horrible. That was an absolutely horrible performance from him.
I think what this period has also highlighted is how much these players are athletes, and you need to be at your peak athletic performance level to be able to compete. And even if you're 10, 15% off of that level, it shows it's glaring. And it's like, it's not like you can hide behind like your tech and stuff.
Honestly, it is scary. Yeah, I was proper thinking, yeah, Reece, no, you have to come off. I was actually hoping for him to come off. So when Frank did the subs today, I was thinking, thank God, because he would have been toasted the whole game. But to be fair to him, he's only going to get match fitness if he plays. Yeah. So I wouldn't drag him off entirely and not play him, but he needs to get match sharpness, really and truly, because you saw Ruben the other day against Villa, look very, very sluggish. Reece, when he came on against Villa, sluggish. Today, Reece again, sluggish. When you're coming back from injuries and you're nursing injuries, it takes quite a while, and especially after such a long layoff in terms of football. It's going to take even longer for these players to get back to match sharpness. But yeah, Reece was definitely poor. There's no excuses. Well, there is an excuse, but there's a rational reason. But still, he was poor today, 100%. But in terms of the performance in the second half, the moment Kovacic and Barkley came on, and obviously Aspie, because Aspie locked down that right-hand side. We looked a lot more better. Kovacic just brought an element of control that we just didn't have in the first half. Kante was, he looked a bit better because he had a midfield partner that was sat next to him, so he was able to dictate with Kovacic. And Kovacic's ability to, I guess, inject a bit of tempo and pace into our midfield, into like in the middle third, is second to none when he's on it and fit. And yeah, Barkley, obviously, I think he's probably one of our most creative midfielders by distance. So when he came on, he creates a lot of issues. I think in the first half, Mount only created one chance. That was that Pulisic opportunity. But in the second half, Barkley was creating chances and just creating openings.
He's such an interesting, frustrating player. Because when you look at his attributes, he's really got it all. He's got the physical attributes. He's got the technical attributes. So you can't say he's lacking in either department. But it's still that idea of putting it all together and having these holistic performances. And you can see that Frank will use him, for example, I need more creativity, I'll bring him on. But then as much as that he scored, there was still frustrating decision-making on the counter, I think, in the last...
Bro,
it's like you just, and we've been talking about this about Barkley for forever, basically. He's 26 now. So he's coming into his prime and it's like, put it all together, Ross. Let's see what you can really do for these next 5 years.
Since he was 18 years of age, bro, we've been saying, you know what, Barkley is mad, technically crazy, PNP, can shoot off either foot, good passer, but God, his decision-making is literally zero. Zero. If it's not instinctive, he's going to have a big issue processing what he needs to do. I remember there was a point in the second half where Ruben is literally free on the left. Free on the left. He stops and then passes it backwards. I was thinking, what? It's just like, I was like, why are you doing this? Like,
how have you even come to that conclusion?
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. And this is the most frustrating thing about Barkley. You can see he's got all the talent, but no matter what manager works with him, he still seems to have these moments where he's not fully engaged in his brain. And I guess that's the thing where certain players, you may just have to accept that's what they are. You know what I mean? Accept them for their faults and say, you know what? Clearly, it ain't really your thing. You know? So you have to just accept it. So it's just nuts. He's an annoying player, but he came up with the goods today, so I can't complain. His run in the FA Cup continues. I think he's got 3 goals in the FA Cup this season. So yeah,
not too shabby. Seb, you've had a good week. Couple dubs, couple W's, nothing heavy. Talk to us. First, take us through the game earlier in the week. Who did you play?
Quickly, Seb, quickly. Is it 9 a.m.?
Yeah, man. Do you know what I mean? My boy Martial. You know, I was just about to ask him that. He's absolutely gutted. He's absolutely gutted. I love to see it. Do you know what I mean? Martial is my boy, somebody I've been championing for a long time. So do you know what I mean? To see
Sheffield United, we had all the big boys come in, and as Means has alluded to, a certain Anthony Martial scored a lovely hat-trick. So take us through your thoughts this week, because we were saying before the pod, you've been keeping your eye on the fixture lists of all the teams. Just talk to us.
Do you know what it is? I was interested because you see the Sheffield game was actually weird, but 6-pointer. Because they are actually, they were in a running for the top 4. Obviously, since we've come back, they've kind of bowled off a bit. I'm not too sure. I think they've got some injuries, and against us, they had 2 first-team centre-backs away. So 1 injured and 1 had a red card, if I'm not mistaken. So for me, when I got that news, I was like, listen, we have to put these men to the sword. Like, we have to put these men
in as well.
Yeah, man. I think the game was okay. I feel like there was flashes of brilliance. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the overall game wasn't. You know, I don't like. We had the majority of the possession, and what they wanted to do is just counter. Do you know what I mean? All they wanted to do was just counter. But
many fans like on Twitter and the ones I've spoken to have said that was probably your best performance, the most complete performance of the season. I can't lie. I think I agree. You know, like
no. I say that, but I don't think we've had many good performances. Do you know what I mean? I feel like on the whole, when you look at it, it was probably our best performance of the season. But
it's kind of like it's not saying much when you compare it to what we've done. Okay,
I still feel like we have maybe a few levels to go in regards to everybody being on the field. I.e., the reason why I say that is because I just want more chances. Do you know what I mean? I want more chances created. Because again, like people are gonna miss a few. One thing I was really happy with is Rashford. He missed a few chances. Yeah. We still created more chances. Like, you know, in other games, if someone misses one,
that's it. That we'll be talking about only if Rashford took that chance. You would talk
about only if Rashford took that chance. However, we created loads of chances. Rashford seems off the boil. I don't know if he's still injured or just super unfit because he's been away for but he's been away for 6 months, right? Yeah. So
so it's going to take him a bit longer.
Yeah. So and he's not like the level of, say, like Pogba. Pogba is just running on natural ability alone, whereas he's not fit, but he's just so sick. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like he don't even. For me, when I look at Pogba, he don't even look fit. But he's because his natural ability is just
gliding around the pitch.
He could just glide. Do you know what I mean?
But this is what we're saying, though. When we're giving context for players and injuries and actually getting them back up to speed, certain players will take longer because certain players don't have the necessary level of quality, and that's completely fine. You know what I'm trying to say? So you can't expect the world. I wouldn't ever expect the world from Rash. If it was a Martial coming from injury, I think because he's got more natural ability in certain areas of the game, especially the dribbling, touch, and tech, I feel like you'd get a bit more out of a Martial.
No, do you know what? I don't think so, because when Martial comes back from injury, I'm on him as well, because for me, like every time he comes back from injury, he looks really weird. I feel like one thing that I was happy with Rash is he kept it simple. And this is why me and this were arguing, because he was like, oh, this is said he played rubbish. Like, he didn't. I say, like, what he did is he kept it simple. He knows he's not at the level he is. So what he done is he just played sick passes. Like, he just kept playing sick passes. In regards to taking people on, that was few and far between. That wasn't really him. He couldn't really do it. So he just played really, really good passes. And even the move for Martial's third goal was
of his passing. Yeah. The weight of his passing.
I'm sick. Like, and the thing is, that's the sign of maturity. Do you know, like a old Rash, when he come back from injury or not playing, he's gonna try to force it, run down the line, the ball's going out, whatever. He matured. He's cutting. He's relaxing. He knows he can't do it. He's passing it. He's playing it simple. And for me, you know what I mean? I just gotta respect that, because although I'm not saying he's playing well, I'm just saying he's not playing shit. And he's not forcing it like before. So, do you know what it is? So that aspect of his game, I was really, really happy. I was just, do you know what it is? It's like Man United have lacked so much quality in the midfield in regards to just having two people in the midfield that can actually play. And you can see the little, even like Pogba against Sheffield United, he was enjoying his football. He actually, he couldn't stop smiling, bro. My man was loving it. He was just so happy to get chances,
That would have been...
Fam, if I should bang that would have been so sick. But yeah, man, I just do you know what I mean? I enjoyed the game, but I feel like there's levels to go in regards to just maybe moving the ball a bit faster. And now we go into the game we played yesterday. And
what did you think for that game though? What did you think of Bruno's performance in that game?
I think it was okay.
The pundits were waxing Liverpool about him again. Obviously, Martial got a hat trick. What was your thoughts and takes on the game? Morayo as well. Like, obviously,
you have to understand, Jay, in regards to Man United, the bar's on the floor. So when you've had a midfield trio for the last couple of years of Pogba, Matic and Fred, or Pogba, McTominay and Fred, or Pogba, McTominay and Pereira, or Pereira, Pogba and McTominay, the bar is on the floor. So anything that Bruno does, any like competent thing he does, they're going to be like, oh yeah, United have missed this, because we have, if we're being honest, we have missed somebody that's going to do those little flicks and tricks and intellect play. We have missed that person who's going to try to take chances. Yeah, Bruno shooting, inshallah. I don't think like on the Sheffield United game, he didn't pop as much. Like yesterday, he was moving mad, but Sheffield United wasn't really shooting that much.
I think with him, and the reason why he didn't shoot as much against Sheffield United, but he did against Norwich, is against Norwich. Who was he playing with? Who was he playing? Who were the players who were around him? So he comes from that sporting background where basically he was given the green light to basically go out there, carry this team, and shoot as much as you want. The reason for me why it's uncomfortable and it further alludes to racial undertones in terms of this whole discussion is his execution. He is essentially being praised for trying things. So basically what tends to happen is he'll try things, the majority of things aren't coming off, but you'll have Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher when he's in the studio, when they're talking about him, but he's trying things. Manchester United have missed that. And then even there was a stretch of play against Sheffield United where he tried something, didn't come off, and Gary Neville praised him. And then Pogba tried a pass and he's like, he needs to keep it simple. And to me, that's interesting because
that's the whole offensive level. That's
no. I don't think that. I don't think that's the difference between them. I think that you cannot praise Bruno for trying things and in the same breath, which they've done all this time, say Pogba doesn't do anything, because all Pogba's done since he's got here is try things. Pogba's come from a background where there wasn't a competent, if Matic wasn't playing or Matic's legs were shot, there wasn't a competent enough DM to receive the ball from the centre-backs and connect play. So Pogba would drop in to do that. Then there isn't a CM who's going to transition the midfield to the forward line. So then Pogba will do that also in the same game. And then there also isn't a midfielder who's going to play the final killer pass, which is going to create the chances for our attackers to score. So then Pogba is also going to do that too. So you put that all in context, and how his performances have been reported on since he got here. This is not to say that Pogba's been brilliant. And you know me, I've questioned his performance levels since he's gotten here. But for you not to have that context and that understanding for Bruno, but when it comes to Pogba, it's a case of not good enough, he hasn't done anything. Because they were doing a combined United and I think a combined Liverpool and United 11. That was Carragher and Neville. Carragher put Bruno in and said, Pogba hasn't done anything. Why are you putting Pogba in? He hasn't done anything. Bruno has not shown anything yet. He's shown that he has quality, little flicks and little first touches to create space and killer passes, but he hasn't shown anything yet to say he's a better player or has a quality level of Pogba. So I don't think, that it's as simple as saying, is it because Pogba's better? As far as these are concerned, they don't even really rate him. They'll be like, yeah, he's world class, but he needs to string things together. But Bruno's suddenly the main man and the reason why everything's ticking. And look at the results have changed since Bruno's come in. Come on, man, make it make sense. Make it make sense.
I look at Bruno and when you have world class players like a Paul Pogba, I look at him and I think, you know what, I would really love him at my club. I look at Bruno and I think, hey, you know what, you're a good player.
Oh, nice.
But I'm not looking at him in envy. I'm not looking at him and thinking
you don't want him I need him enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on. Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. Are you?
Oh yeah, you don't get comfy. Remember your place.
Yeah, please. You die for Bruno.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong, innit? Wait. So I'm talking like let's pretend I'm Meads, innit? Like I gotta see myself in Meads. I can't talk from my position, innit? Like because me, like obviously, like the thing is, it's not if this was Arsenal, like the old school Arsenal, innit? Also I can talk confidence, innit?
Yeah.
We had a bit of sauce there, innit? It weren't just normal like Tesco value sauce, innit? Like Jack and them, man, innit?
It's Tesco value store. It's a bit lower than that. When Ganduzi is your best midfielder, it's mad.
No, that's a reach, bro. Sure. I'll say, when that bad, that is actually Xhaka, innit? That's how bad our midfield is at the moment, innit? It is Xhaka. But with Bruno, like Mees was saying, innit? He's not. Let's say this was Arsenal's midfield, but when we were actually good in it, it's not someone I'm gonna say, we need him, innit? Yeah, he's not a need, innit? He's not a want.
Player. He's a nice player.
But he's a good player. Bruno is a good player.
That's it. Don't get me wrong. Like I think Bruno, I look at him and I think, you've got quality. Definitely got quality. Yeah. Definitely a good player. And definitely
you can just see in every touch.
You'll definitely add things to your club, your respective club. Minimum.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That being said, I would not have him anywhere near in terms of like comparatives, and looking at him and comparing him to Pogba. It's actually an insult, really. Because I think the gap in quality between the two is mad. And I remember
huge.
The pod, I think we had a pod in Feb. We'll talk about Bruno's impact. The truth is, Bruno has had a big impact at United simply because the quality that you've had, I want to talk about without Pogba on your side, lacking entirely. The gap in quality between Bruno and Pereira is nuts. Because Bruno is significantly better. And that's because Pereira is not good enough. Whereas Pogba, I think, again, there's a significant gap in quality because Pogba is literally a world-class midfielder. In terms of ability, talent, there's not that many. I probably could only name one or two that are of his level in the world, just on tech and just natural ability alone. But then you also know that Pogba, if certain things fall into place, he could get it right on a day. And generally speaking, I feel like he's almost been left out to dry, hung out to dry because he's not had the desired or necessary quality around him. So when people say, oh, unlocking Pogba, get a new DM in, unlocking Pogba, doesn't necessarily need to be the case. Get a good player in that can play, and then you'll get a better player. You know what I mean? You can't expect Pogba to be doing a complete madness with the likes of Pereira, Lingard, Fred, McTominay. Come on, fam. It just doesn't make sense. So obviously, if you look at Bruno, he's enhanced United. Bruno's enhanced United because he's a good player. And that's how it should be. So it's not a slight on Bruno whatsoever. Because I think he's a very, very good player. But
I think that's where like a lot of clubs, not just United, Arsenal as well, that's where their recruitment comes into question, isn't it? That they try to build things around players, but they're not building it in the correct way. Sometimes they're just slapping rubbish next to these players, thinking that player is going to hide the rubbish.
That's a good point.
So and like the thing is, you can't do that long term, man. Sooner or later, obviously, you have that spell in it. It's going to be all right, and then the difficult spell, boy, that's when it starts showing.
The cream rises to the top, man.
That's when it starts showing up. That
I'm sure you can say, Marco, like, obviously not this season because you basically won every game, but at times, Firmino's lack of goals, they come back to hurt you. But it seemed like you wanted to say something about Bruno as well.
Goals this season, I think he had a chance against, he had two chances against Plecom, two big chances. One which he hit the post and one which he missed. And if he scores either one of those, we're still in the Champions League. So yeah, it does cover when you have a player that lacks in certain areas. But on Pogba's case, I feel like going back to what you said about him having to do 3 different roles, he was doing 3 different roles for a long period of time, having to try and build up play from the back, try and be incisive from the front. It's going to take a toll on you mentally anyway. You're doing a bit too much and people are not finishing around you. Why would you continue to do so? And I feel with Bruno, people look at him in a different light because he's trying to be incisive all the time. So when Bruno picks up the ball, he's trying the wonder pass every single time. He's not trying to like keep the play going. He's just trying to do it all. And when you do that all the time and consistently, even though the success rate isn't there all the time, people can see that as he's trying to be aggressive, as opposed to people that know football know sometimes you just need to retain the ball. And I feel like that's what Pogba does. Sometimes you know that you need to sustain an attack for a little bit. So pass the ball to the side, let them continue to generate pressure, and then cool. Instead of,
do you want to know what? The things with Pogba, I can't lie. The 3 games he's come back and played, so whether he started and just featured him, I think this is probably the best type of Pogba I've seen. Not in terms of like output, but the way he, for me, seems so refined. Because technically, you're not really getting the ball off him. He's keeping it simple, recycling the ball, and he's also got the quality. So the quality in the pass. Who did they play the other day? In the cup.
The volley.
Norwich.
The dink to Martial, in the box was just unbelievable. Unbelievable for me because it took out their entire back line and disrupted them on a complete madness. But that's the quality. He didn't even have that many moments in the game to do that, but he picked that one. Whereas Bruno's obviously trying to force it. Whereas Pogba, now he's got a Bruno, he doesn't need to keep forcing it. Because there was a games back in the day where Bruno wasn't around. Morayo used to get mad annoyed that Pogba keeps trying to force things. And it's just, but when you've got players that are of acquired quality, you don't necessarily need to force it on them.
Exactly.
You can force people with the ball. You know what I mean?
We can commend him on that. And I think what you then saw in the reverse fixture against Norwich, or reverse fixture, the next fixture in the week against Norwich, where we took out our main guy. So that's Pogba came out, Matic came out, Rashford came out, Martial came out, and then Fred came in, McTominay came in, Mata came in, Lingard came in, Igalo came in. It was poor. It was poor. Dallo also came in for Wan-Bissaka. It was poor. Like I don't know if you both watched it, but the football was slow. They all look. Unfortunately, you didn't have any plans to watch it.
I love watching football, so I try to watch as much as possible. But I even fell asleep during this Chelsea game. Like it's been hard.
You're still off the high, yeah. All you smell is champagne. So you saw without that quality, these are the players that Pogba had to play with, and if Rashford and Martial are injured, these are the players that he has to play with, and it was poor for me. Norwich, on what we've seen, are probably the worst team in the Prem. Definitely defensively, they're the worst team in the Prem. So, in terms of watching how that game played out, it was very, very difficult. We could barely combine. We couldn't connect. There was no tempo to our play. There was no chance creation. We weren't putting them in any compromising positions. And really, we got a decent goal from Igalo, and we really didn't come on top of them until we brought the better players on again. And I think that's one thing this period has really shown us, is how much the quality matters. You can tell when you're watching one set of players who are a lot better than another. Like when you guys played Crystal Palace, Marco, you were spazzed on them. That probably might be the most impressive.
Because that wasn't costing Salah at that time. We were just incisive with every single pass, and I liked it. Great performance.
So you see that. So at least we're still in the semi-finals, but I think Oli knows where he stands now. He knows who his starters are. Like we said on the Muga podcast, and you also know as well, Mead, you can probably get 5 good games in a row out of Matic before his legs go. So we just have to make sure that we pick the 5. Yeah, we have to pick the 5 games carefully, and hopefully that takes us just to the precipice of top 4. And then, we'll do what we can to crawl. Yeah, we'll do what we can to crawl over the line. But he was brilliant. He was brilliant against Sheffield United.
How many games he had? 3 games, yeah? Matic
3 games, but he started 1.
Okay, so you still got 1. You still got another 3 still. You still got another 3. Matic, for me, you know how gassed I used to be. For me, when Matic is on, he's very, very big. He's very imperious. Like, he knits everything together so well. So when he's off, there is no in between with him. There's no in between still. Like it's just bad. You know what I mean? It's just bad. But when he's on, he's sick.
Is that perfect compliment? It's almost like you want just a Matic with legs is what you'd want to go with Pogba and Bruno, because he can receive the ball, he can play out of pressure, and he can link play. He can carry it even. Matic Matic doesn't rush. Matic doesn't rush himself. Like you come, he'll sidestep you. Did I see the pass there? No, let me scan the whole pitch. Okay, boom, let me square it. Yeah, so he's really good when he's on.
He could do a lot for your team. When he's on, he could do a lot for your team. So I'm kind of hoping that 5-game thing kind of expires quickly. You're not a local, bro. You're not a local.
It's tense. It's tense. The thing is with him as well. Like the people who watched him at Benfica talk about how different he has been post Benfica. So you saw flashes of it at Chelsea, probably longer periods of it. But Nikki, who's a Man United fan, she always talks about how much better as a player he was at Benfica, and it's like I never saw that Matic, who had the legs and still had the tech and who had the presence. And it's Portugal, but it's like, you see that quality and it translates, and we haven't quite seen that. So if he can just help us to get this top four spot, then his job will be done. Last but not least, a good week for you lot. It's been a tough kind of start to this renewed season, we should call it. But you got a win against Southampton, a good win to be fair, and you also got a late win today against Sheffield United. Talk us through it. Talk us through your thoughts going into these games and what you thought of both performances.
I mean, the thing is, about them 2 results, it's come into question like how unlucky we've been quite a bit this season. If you get what I'm saying, like the luck is starting to like come back to us a bit now, because we've had our fair share of unlucky games this season where we should have won, and now we're starting to get those results. Because in terms of performance, we're still not playing well. We're not doing that well. We're still like, there's still certain aspects to our game that's just like, we'll have moments where we dominate the game, we'll control the game, and then the rest of the game, the other team just pammed us, puts us under pressure. We had that moment today against Sheffield United. They looked like they were going to they equalised.
It looked like the goal was coming, yeah.
It looked like another goal was coming. I mean, like, we sneaked a goal in the end. But at this moment in time, the thing is, with Arsenal, I think with Arteta, it's all about winning a game at the moment for him. I think it helps him improve as a coach. I think he's learning on the job. That's the problem.
Naturally, what's it been? How many games has he managed you? Has it been 20 games?
Yeah, 20 games. Yeah, so he's still learning, because obviously you can tell he's still learning, because some of the subs he makes are very questionable. Some of them just don't make sense. It's a bit confusing at times. So he is still learning on the job. I mean, like, the shining spot has been Saka in midfield, and obviously on the left as well. He's been.
Like he's really good today as well.
You can see that,
and I think he's so impressive, bro.
I feel like he's very impressive. Today he was okay. Like, today he was a bit better than what I expect from him. So
it's not just. Do you know what? Everyone forgets this kid is a second-year scholar. You know, he's not even a first-year pro yet. He's a second-year scholar, and for a second-year scholar to be doing what he's doing, it's nuts.
It's impressive.
It's very impressive.
While being solid athletically, solid technically, even because they're good technically, it's his intelligence is what impresses me the most. He has that it's almost the opposite of Barkley, and it's like he's got that kind of intelligence which makes his youth almost irrelevant. Right? You play him at left back, solid job at left back. You play him at left wing, he does a solid job at left wing, and then you play him again in midfield, and he does a solid job in midfield. Progresses the play for you well, covers defensively well, pickups little pockets of space. Obviously, you had Sam on your Touchy episode, and he said basically it's just a matter of time before he signs the new contract.
Yeah, which is major for Arsenal, because losing a talent like that, like, imagine you went to Liverpool, man, losing someone like that. It's just that's just like
Marco shudders at the prospect.
No, it's just like one step forward in terms of bringing Arteta in, but like 2 steps back losing a talent like that.
Yeah.
What is about this, the way we finish the season, I mean, I've seen the FA Cup draw. We've got what, Man City? I think that's as far as we go in the semis. I'll be very surprised. No, I'm honest. You get me? Like, if we do make it to the final, innit? Like, Arteta, respect, like, big props to him, innit? He's done something magical to get to the final. Because today, like, we could have easily gone out. It could have gone any 2 ways. But in the end, we got the result. We dug in. Southampton, that one as well, it's like...
I thought that was a good performance.
It was a good performance. Solid, innit? We just did what we had to do. But in terms of, like, overall performance as an attacking team, it's still not there. It still feels like...
Look at the pieces you've got there. Look at your pieces.
Yeah. It was
relative to who we're talking about.
But you know what it is? With us attacking-wise, I think we rely more on individuals than pattern of play. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought I'd ask you all because I'm interested. I want to know all because I've been asking the Discord.
What is Arteta's tactics going forward?
Tactics are
I'll be honest, like
go out and play, and that's
no. Do you know what?
I think these cones ain't gonna set up themselves, boys.
I think partially part of it is our midfield. That's what's probably. I'm not Arteta in it, but I'd like to think the reason he hasn't really like focused on pattern of play is how bad our midfield is.
No, okay, I take that. Okay, listen, actually, guys, I have a good memory. Something that just came to mind. Yeah, the first game you lot played against Bournemouth, when you had Maitland-Niles tucking into midfield the same way City use their fullbacks. Everyone was talking about, you see this, blah, 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 blah. Ozil, linking up play, look how we're building, look how we're solid if we get counter-attacked on. What's happened to that? Because he does have an attacking...
Basically...
he does have an attacking philosophy. It's very similar to what they're doing over at City.
To me, that period was being built around Ozil on it as a focal point of our attacking philosophy.
Yeah.
But what it is Ozil's intensity, he's finito, man. He ain't got the legs anymore, bro. Like, he can't keep up. It's not just keep up. Like, he just hasn't got the physicality to handle the Premier League. Because let's say he played against Sheffield United today. I mean, you have a couple of moments of brilliance. You won't get an assist. You don't really get an assist anymore. But you'll make certain things happen. But it'll get to a point in the game where the game's just going past him. Because he just hasn't got the physicality to keep up now. So
now, when you've got 5 subs, wouldn't it be better to use them now? And then you can.
I think it's got to a point they need them gone.
Wow. So wait, hold on. Within 20 games, Arteta has Ozil's going to be my linchpin. Binned him, and now he's not even getting a look in.
He's not even getting a look in. I think.
What do you think of that? Do you think that's too harsh? Do you think that's too harsh?
I think like Marco touched on, he should be on the bench and like let's say last 20 or sometimes.
He lacks quality. He like to this day. Say what you want to say about his P&P. Yeah, go on, Marco.
Like Ozil still has that pass.
He still has that. Yeah. Obviously, in my side, I still like Ozil on it. I just know that his body's finished. Like I can't defend him from that. Every Arsenal fan has been saying it, and you can't disagree from it. His body is gone, but I still think because of his quality as a talent, not generational as Sol said, but as a talent, the talent Ozil is. But I would still have him on the bench, throw him on the last 10 and 20, 15 minutes because the quality he still keeps the ball 9 out of 10 times. He'll still help you progress play in that last 20, 15 minutes. I mean, that's how you keep pressure off your teams because. What we've been doing recently, we've been throwing on Joe Willock, which is no part. It's not his fault, but he's playing in a role he's not good enough for.
Really not.
He's not that type of player to me. And I've always, when I look at Willock, I just see him as like either a box to box player or that's really it about him. So, like you said, we lack a lot of quality, and I'm really surprised we're not using Ozil on the bench at least. But
personally, I find that very, very strange though, because. Beginning of the season, apparently you lot have got more quality than Chelsea and United. So I'm
hey! I didn't say that, innit? I know a lot of people said it.
Do you want to know why I'm confused as well? It's because it's all of a sudden when Arteta's not getting the results, they're saying, this the same person, the same people that were saying, Arteta, you can't really blame him because he's not got quality, and Chelsea and United have got a better team. Well,
I think. Do you know what it is? I think Arsenal fans.
The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing.
No. Do you know what it means? I think Arsenal fans are very guilty of this. They tend to really overrate players that are not actually that good.
Right.
Like a Bellerin, fam.
Bellerin's washed. It's facts. He's washed. It's a problem that Arsenal fans. It's include even me. I can say that to myself. You know, like youth players when they're coming up. Like I can say it. I'll happily say it, man. Like, bro, like we overrate our talents, what we have. And sooner or later, it does actually show these players are actually the level that you think they are.
I mean, you're probably one of the biggest criminals I've come across in my time on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm criminal, bro. I'm biased, bro.
I mean, your strike rate's probably like.
But at the end of the day, like I think with us this summer, I think the focus is getting. If we can, we need to get these players on big wages gone. One thing that makes me sad about this current Arsenal team is that some of these players don't want to play where they should be playing. It's like
name names, bro. Name names, brother.
It's like Maitland-Niles, for example. Bro, I wish this guy would just take the right back spot because I'm telling you, he wants to. He played right wing back today because I look at him like, bro, if this guy put effort into becoming a right back here, he could extend his Arsenal career by another 5+ years. Right. That vibe at Arsenal is up for take. Bellerin's washed. He's done. His body's gone. Like he just can't keep up, and he can't play football. And what Bellerin was about was pace.
After an injury like that,
he doesn't have it anymore. That injury has just finished him. It's not his fault, but his body's just like you can just. He just. And he's a vegan now. I don't know what. I'm not a scientist in it. I don't know what vegan.
Yeah, please.
I don't know about this vegan thing in it. But I just know.
On this, say less. I'll say one thing, and this is football related. Science is probably the topic.
I'm not a scientist.
It's probably the topic that people speak on with having absolutely no knowledge of it. So let's stick to what we know. So
back to Bellerin. Back to Bellerin. I just like. Every time I watch him now, he's just getting like, bro. You could be an average winger and you're gonna do him, man. Like you could be the most. You could. Did he play against Leeds? I remember Leeds against Leeds. Oh my god! Some of the things Elder Costa was doing to him, just thinking, bro. Elder Costa is alright, isn't it? But he's not top level winger. Yeah. So imagine him Bellerin now going to Champions League if Arsenal somehow get there in the next 3 years and Bellerin's playing against the champ, he's just going to get duppied. He's going to be like Costa again, part 2. Remember Costa against Bayern, what Costa done to him.
Forget the Champions League, just the Prem level. I will ask you a question because I was having this discussion about Maitland-Niles earlier because people were saying that he should go to right back. You're not the first person who said that, and I said you've got most of the top fullbacks. They tend to have at least one thing they're very good at. So Trent has got his not necessarily on the ball. Like Trent, for example, has got his striking ability on the ball, which sets him apart at fullback. So that's through his passing, and obviously he's a goal threat even from fullback. But he opens up the play. He's essentially another creator for Liverpool from right back. And you've got fullbacks like Alphonso Davies, who physically, so you're talking about his speed and you're talking about his agility, you're talking about his power relative to his size. Makes him a matchup nightmare as well for wingers and for fellow fullbacks. And then you've got Maitland-Niles. Hold on, let me finish. Yeah. And then you've got fullbacks who are just very good all-rounders, like a Alaba, who can play centre back, can play left back, can play centre mid. Where does Maitland-Niles fall into? Because I don't see him as having an outstanding ability. Yeah.
You know what? I was gonna say he's not an all-rounder in terms of versatility. Well, he can probably play quite a few positions, but what it is, he's more of an all-rounder as a footballer. He's a decent passer. I'll say he's a good athlete as well. He's not slow. He's got, when like Turner played, when he played in Zara earlier this season, like you could just see this kid, if he really puts his mind to it. I think what's wrong with him really is mentality to play right back, and that showed against in the Europa League last year against Chelsea. I think it got to part of the game, just concentration, just boom.
No, that wasn't it. Hazard spun him, mate. Come on.
I can't lie. I really forgot about
don't get me wrong, innit? Hazard turned up, innit? Hazard made a show of his last game, innit? He just wanted to let people know. He just wanted to Hazard wanted to put in the memory, like, right, you know what, Chelsea fans, you know what? Don't remember me, innit? Let me do this for you one last game, innit? Let me pattern this for you lot, yeah, but don't forget about me. But with Maitland-Niles, in that game, do you know what? In that game, first half, he was bombing up and down. He was active, but as the game went, his concentration just went. He just looked. You know when you don't actually want to play a position, but you're just being forced to play there. You know, like that. Like
that's absolutely mental.
Back in Sunday League. Nah, you know back in Sunday League when the gaffer would just throw you in a position, and you're like, I don't play here though. Yeah. And then as the game goes, in it, you just start thinking. I'm a striker. You're playing me left back. Bro, I swear to God, that's what Maitland-Niles is like sometimes during the game. He's just like, it's like he's just like, raw. Why are you playing me right back? Am I a joke, man? Am I a dickhead? Like sort of thing.
That's weird though. Like man's at Arsenal.
It's mad.
Exactly.
That's scary.
That's what scares me.
I find that crazy
because I'm so sure of it. Yeah, if it was like, obviously we're not footballers. Yeah, we're not good enough in it. Like, but if any of us was in that position for a top club and
I'm putting it all in,
we've been given a position to extend our career at this club. Yeah, at a top club, top six, wherever we are now. We're mid-table probably right now, but wherever we're classed as worldwide. Like, if they offer me the opportunity, like Trent, for example, Trent could have easily said, no, I don't want to play right back. I only want centre mid. But Trent,
I wouldn't have ended
the type of, no, he wouldn't have ended him. But the type of play he is he thought, right, do you know what? I'm doing all right at this right back position. Why not just make it permanent? And I think sooner or later, as his career goes on, as he develops, he'll probably end up being a midfielder again. That's how Maitland-Niles should see it. You probably get the opportunity to become a midfielder as he wants to later on in his career. Like Arsenal might need like another CDM or something, and they might think, okay, Maitland-Niles has developed so well, let's play him there, see how he does.
You know what? And the thing that we've seen as well is that if you're an elite fullback, you see a lot of the ball. You see a lot of the ball. You talk about players like Marcelo. You talk about players like Dani Alves, Trent, who also goes without being mentioned. But if you're a very good fullback, you see Kyle Walker over at City. If you're a very fullback, you see a lot of the ball and you're involved in the game. And if you're talking about the way that Arteta specifically seems like he wants to model his play after what they do at City, it's logical. But we'll see. I think maybe that some of that prestige has come off Arsenal for these lads, and maybe they see they see a bit more of the club than we do, and maybe it's not as shiny as people like to think.
Yeah, of course, but do you know what it is? I think it's the fullback position. It's the way it's looked at. You know, like.
How do you think it's looked at though in today's game?
I think I think people don't look at it. Nah, they still don't look at it in the right way. It's not because a fullback position is actually a very good position to play. You actually have like you said, you get a lot of the ball and you impact the game more often than not. A lot of the games impacted by the fullback nowadays. The way the current modern game, the fullback impacts it a lot. I think the culture, the way, especially in like football culture, like the way we look at fullbacks, some of us look at fullbacks. I mean, some of us look at it differently. Like us, look, we can see, right, this as a fullback, it's an important position to be. But some other people, quite a lot of people look at it as like a bummy position to play. Like if you're playing fullback, naturally, like back in the day, it was looked at as like, he's a dead one, isn't it? Like, we can target him. He's at right back or left back for a reason. He's not in the middle of the pitch because he's not that good. I think that's how it's looked at. That's why, like, probably, obviously, Saka, you can see he's an elite talent. I think he's an elite talent personally. But I think he's more of an elite talent at left back. But you can just see that he doesn't want to play there for whatever reason. But you can just see that he don't fancy it, maybe because of that sort of thing. I think Maitland-Niles, that's the main reason he doesn't fancy it.
So just to add to that as well, I feel like from a player's perspective, a lot of it is about tracking back. Like, nobody really likes tracking back in this day and age. Why am I always running back to cover someone else's mistake? And it's tiring. Like, I used to be a left back, so my football career was left back, left mid, then number 10. And when I was a left back, I was there because I was aggressive defensively, and I was quite quick and I was quite strong. So I was just there, put in that position, and I hated going back. Like, that was the worst thing for me. I would just bomb all the way up the pitch. I wouldn't get the ball. Then I have to track all the way back because someone else fucked up. And you know, those times, it wasn't a thing where your winger covers for you. You had to get back. And I feel like that might be in his head, that he doesn't have someone that's going to protect him. He's going to be playing with Pépé, who's not going to be tracking back for him. He's going to have to do all the work.
But do you not also think that he's going to have to do that in midfield anyway? Like,
yeah, it's even worse.
Like, imagine, mentality thing.
It is a mentality thing, because imagine playing Man City away, bro, with all them midfielders running around you. Do you know how much running you're doing, bro? Like, so I'd rather be a fullback out on the wing, and at least I'm just chasing some Sterling, innit? But if I'm in the middle, I'm chasing De Bruyne, I'm chasing Bernardo.
You're chasing the ball.
Yeah, you're right. You make a good point. Final point I want to touch on with you all. So Pépé, I think it's 16 goals/assists. Arsenal fans have been telling us all day. What's your read on his first season?
He's been decent. It's been a decent first season. Like, he's putting the numbers on the board. But what it is, I think it's just he's suffered from going through 3 managers. He's had an injury, etc. But obviously, like, I think part of it was the money we paid for him. It didn't help him. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, you're including the caretaker.
Oh yeah, the care. Obviously.
Yeah.
All right, let's take the caretaker.
I was trying to count him as well.
All right, let's remove Freddie. Let's remove Freddie. So 2 managers. But like, I think part of it has been the price tag on him. It's put a lot of. He's not. Don't get me wrong. I like him, but he's not a 75 mil player. At the end of the day, so but
like Raul, what's his name? Raul.
That bum. No, we don't know. I don't know about him, man. He's a bum.
Hey, hold on.
Yeah, beginning of the season, it was
wait. Hey, I went part of different Knock FC, man. Them man do their thing, bro.
I just need to clarify still, because something just weighing on my mind a little.
Oh, here we go.
What happened to this? Because I wasn't hearing his name as Sinelli or something, or that Raul guy. I was hearing Don Raul.
I was hearing Don Hefe.
They were like Don Julio, Don Raul. I was like, blood.
What? So all of this energy now, the timid energy, I need explanation, like, because
you know what, fam? That guy set himself up, when he said
he addressed all our issues. Apparently, was the talk at the start of the season.
Different.
No, do you know what? I do
now
think,
you haven't got any quality.
9 out of 10 transfer window.
I do think some of the Arsenal signings this summer were decent. To be fair, Tierney was solid. Like,
wait. Quick question. Quick question. You see, when you're looking at Pépé, you say he's been decent. Yeah. How many open play goals and assists has Pépé does he have? when I look at
No,
he
taking
scored
the
8
penalty,
goals.
free
He
kicks
scored
are
8 goals,
Free
isn't it?
kicks are okay.
I
yeah,
think
he scored
he-
8 goals and what 6 set pieces.
I think
including pens.
I think
Hold on.
four goals from open play. Must be 4 goals. I
Maybe
think
3.
Let me ask a question because I'm quite good. Because let's do this cross examination, bro. Because look, these man tried to say what 26 games, 16 goal contributions. That's not the truth. The truth actually is he's played 35 games.
35 games.
And his goal contribution is 16. 35, yeah? £75 million, okay? How many have come from open play? 3.
3.
Raw.
He's had 3 penalties and a couple of other free kicks.
Free kicks.
Allow me.
And corners.
Corners. How many of his assists have actually been assists?
You guys fucking signed a Kachu Ward-Prowse.
Alright, fam, chill. Allow it, man.
Man signed the Congolese Ward-Prowse. Man signed the Congolese Ward-Prowse.
You know you're making me hot, fam. Seb,
the Congolese Ward-Prowse.
Seb, allow it, man. Don't do my guy dirty like that.
Oh, stop trying to filibuster. Let the man continue.
Hey, chill. It's a bit.
I'm trying to understand.
No, we need to bring context. We need to bring context.
The thing
No, bring context.
All of these stats you're bringing to us, 1, they're fraudulent. 2, it doesn't run. It doesn't run. Because if you actually look at him objectively and look at what he's produced objectively, it's not been good enough.
And his
You
best
want to
game.
start adding assists to the goals to him, fine. But don't give us Fugazi numbers.
And his best game was against Man United, against a rubbish Luke Shaw, which he played great in the first half. But saying he's been decent like overall through the season is an exaggeration.
No.
Big exaggeration.
Decent isn't the word. I'll say he's been okay.
That's just
he's not been
saying decent with different words.
Decent
he hasn't been decent or okay.
Let's put it this way.
He's been below average.
Let me give you this. He showed flashes of.
He showed glimpses, yeah. But do you know what it is?
Flashes, but not enough.
No. Listen. What Pépé can do is, if he's in the final third and he cuts in, he's got to let off a good shot. You know, probably 2 times out of 10, it's going to rifle in the top bins. Other than that, it's going to go over, it's going to go wide. So he's a final third player and he's good. But for £72 million in this current climate, is that enough?
It's not.
Is that enough?
No, it's not. It's not enough.
Question. Would you prefer to get Zaha?
Would I prefer? Yeah, I would have preferred to get Zaha because I think Zaha would have impacted Arsenal way more than Pépé has this season. Zaha already knows the league, 1. 2, I think he's a better player personally. 3, every single defender in this league is pretty much scared of Zaha. They don't like playing him. So I think as the whole comparison to Pépé, I think Zaha would have done. Zaha would have hurt us probably 6 right now. We'll be in a better position with Zaha than where we are with Pépé.
Where are you now?
9th or something.
I thought you were a bit higher than that now, mate.
No, we're definitely 9th. We're below Sheffield United, just below them.
Still below Sheffield United. Yeah, you're still 9th. Yeah, 43 points. You're 6 points off us in 6th. So yeah, it's not a bad shout. Cool. Thanks for
look it up. Look down.
Yeah.
To be honest, like Mark just said, we're looking down more than up. To be honest,
Okay.
I think we'll stay around that region. But
Sorry,
in fairness, what you guys have said, Pépé. Okay is not the word. He's been below average. Let's
3 goals from open play as a £72 million player is not good enough.
It's not good enough. That, like I said, I call Pépé out. He has been a bum this season.
You called him out, yeah.
I have called him out enough times, but I think with that stats, the stats he's put numbers on the board where he can. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we're a terrible team, and part of it is, I looked at some graphic board of how we get the ball. It was against Southampton, actually. How much we get the ball to our attackers, and the production to our attackers is terrible.
Just on that. I saw a lot of people saying Pepe's been isolated and pushed out wide this season. Do you think that's an Arteta tactic or that's him?
Like I said,
because I feel like he's an inside forward. I feel like he's an out-and-out winger, so that shouldn't be an excuse.
I don't think he's a winger. I don't think
he's not a winger, bro.
He doesn't have the one-on-one ability to be a winger.
He's not a winger. He's definitely not a winger.
I think he plays like a winger, but he shouldn't be a winger. That's what
he's not a winger.
I think what Seb said is right. He's an inside forward and he has got a decent left foot. I probably would say more than 2 out of 10 going to the top corner, probably 6 out of 10 going to the top corner. So Arsenal have to essentially, you're invested in.
I'm not going to allow you to say. I'm not going to say 6 out of 10 when he scored 3 open play goals and he's done it.
Let me finish.
Seb, don't do my guy dirty like this, bro.
Let me finish, guys. Let me finish. Hold on, guys. So what they have to do is put him in a position where Arsenal can allow him to use his strengths, because he doesn't have many, in my opinion. So you have to make sure he's allowed to use them as much. So it's very important for him that the person who's playing on the wing is overlapping and creating the width that give him that space to come inside. He's not getting that at the moment for Bellerin. So he's now been asked to do things that he's not able to do. Listen, when one of your highlights is kind of getting past Virgil van Dijk very early on in the season, it tells us the level. But every time I watch him, he cannot beat his man one-on-one. He can't beat his man one-on-one. For a wide player, that's troublesome. He doesn't even necessarily doesn't even seem to have that kind of get away from a man's speed. So essentially, you just want him in a position where maybe he's standing up his man, he's getting a bit of space because of his fullback overlapping, and he's then allowed to cut in and either shoot, or he's allowed to cut in and play a decisive pass. Obviously, showing he's strong at set pieces as well.
You know, I'll even say one of his better games was against us when he played with Aubameyang in the 2. And would you like to see that going forward? Because how do you get the best out of it?
Well, bro, Uber ain't going to be here next season, to be honest. So.
Well, yeah, somebody up top.
That's all good. Nah, do you know what?
The thing is, with Aubameyang, right? So I feel like Pépé is always going to be best when his team is a transitional-based team.
Yeah.
When they're trying to build from him, he hasn't got the ability. He hasn't got the ability to, well, for me, to take a team on by himself. He hasn't got the trick.
He's not that type.
He's I think he's a tricky player, yeah, and he likes to dribble, but I don't think his dribbling is that good. And I think he overplays it as well. So once you get him in space, I think he's going to be a lot more threatening, and that's why he'll score a lot more goals in transition. If you don't get that, you're not going to get the best out of him at all. And obviously with Arteta, I don't envision his style of play being transitional.
It's going
to be possession based.
Right, so I'm always going to see Pépé at Arsenal poorly, because you're not going to get the best out of him, because you're the way that you want to play, the way that Arteta wants to play is not going to be conducive.
Doesn't go well with him, yeah.
Which is where the problem comes in, because obviously, like, he was signed before Arteta came, so Arteta doesn't really. Arteta's kind of got a dilemma, right?
If you look,
does he? Oh, after you.
Was what's his face?
To be fair, Emery didn't want Pépé. Actually, I remember he was quoted saying he wanted Zaha, and I can't remember the other person. But this summer last summer he didn't want Pépé. He wanted Zaha to be signed, and obviously I think they couldn't agree a deal with Zaha, so they had to go for Pépé. So already, like,
but it was the same press though. It was the same press that you.
No, apparently Crystal Palace wanted more up front, and obviously Arsenal broke with.
Oh yeah,
so we got to do like Klarna, and we got to split the cost, in it. We got to pay the X amount, and it's a bit techie for us, so that's why we didn't end up with Zaha in it. So, but I think what it is now is that when you as a manager hasn't signed a player, you've kind of got this problem. Am I going to build around him because we've invested so much on him? Or decide to go the other way and try to find a way to fit him in, which is what we've had the problem with since Arteta's come. Arteta's still trying to find the best way to fit Pépé in. I don't think he wants to build around Pépé, but he's still trying to find the best way to fit him in.
I think it's good enough for you lot to build around him. Thanks for that little piece there.
No, I wouldn't.
Just wanted to get some feedback from you guys, just your feelings on the Prem's return. So, it's been a couple of weeks now. So we've seen most teams 2 or 3 times, if you include the cups. We went quite a while without football. It was difficult. It was a tough time for all of us.
Oh, it was hard, man.
Some of us are still holding the scars. What have we thought about the quality since we've come back? And that's kind of like an open question to all of you lads.
I'll go first. I feel like we stepped up. this past game week. I feel like it's going to be a thing where people will still be lacking in rhythm for the next 2 or 3 games. But I'm hearing the season's going to start in, argue date is August the 8th.
So it's like literally it's just starting straight away, almost like they've had their break now.
It's going to start straight away. So it's going to be, it's basically going to be like a consistent run of games, and everyone's still going to be able to continue how they left off the season, which will be really good to see. In terms of Liverpool ourselves, I feel like rhythm-wise we've been really good. So we were really good against Palace. I feel like we'll be very, very good against City as well. Especially without Fernandinho, they're gonna have to play Laporte and Otamendi, which I'm loving, or whoever they decide to play. You know, Pep is a madman; he might play whoever. But yeah, I feel like now that people are starting to consistently play, you can see people building up that confidence and building up that match fitness, and games are starting to get a bit more exciting, especially this past week.
I don't know. I feel like the quality for me has been lacking. I feel like there's only a couple of teams that I really felt have come back looking really good. I feel like Southampton have come back looking very, very impressive. Sharp. I can't lie. Very sharp, very fit as well. Liverpool have looked good. Man City, of course. We haven't looked great, in my opinion. We've been okay. I think United have looked quite impressive, to be perfectly honest, in terms of how they're playing since they've come back from the break. Well. But other sides, I generally feel like the quality has been very, very poor. Doesn't really impress me at all. It's just a weird one. But at the same time, we kind of expected it. It's almost like, you know, these are the pre-season matches. These are the first 3 games, so these are literally pre-season matches. So you're going to be getting pre-season performances from a lot of people. And generally, like we said before, we even kicked off again, the teams with a better quality and technical players will generally thrive. But yeah, it's been a weird one for me. The bad teams, it highlights how bad they actually are when they don't have the atmosphere and running on just general fitness and adrenaline. I feel the lacking in quality is bad. Like, I was watching Aston Villa the other day and I was thinking, nah, you lot are just actually terrible.
Villa, Norwich, Sheffield, the promoted teams.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's that training ground atmosphere, like you can literally not feel anything at all. It's just you playing on the pitch. And when you're in front of better players that are more cohesive than you, stronger than you, faster than you, it sucks out all your energy without the crowd to back you.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agreed.
Yeah, but I think that Marco is right. As the weeks go on, we're gonna see that improvement in quality, and it's a much better world with football. I will say that. I guess, lads, we can just finish up with some listeners' questions here. I'll start with a question from John Brown. Please respect our listeners. What do the hosts think of Chelsea's Pulisic and his potential? That's a Chelsea player. Objective host only. But this question isn't for Meads. Let's not insult our listeners, Meads.
I'm gonna have to cuss him out.
Cool. Let me.
Do you know what the funniest thing is? What the Pulisic thing is, I feel like a lot of Chelsea fans are very, very protective of him, so they don't feel like
why do you think
they're not allowed to criticize him. You know, I find it weird. I don't know. Do you know what it is? It's because he's the shiny new toy, and he's the shiny new toy that's allowed to play, whereas everyone else really, like Kovacic before, he was on loan and was with us. Pulisic is a completely new player, right? So. Just like what they did with Morata initially, is what they did with Kepa, is what they're doing with Kepa as we speak. Kepa, whenever it's his fault, they try and blame the defense, they try and blame other people. Morata as well, there's hella excuses, give him time. Ultimately, I'm not saying that Pulisic is in that bracket of like being a bad player or a poor player. My position on Pulisic has always been clear. Pulisic, for me, long term, will be a squad player, in my opinion. Because as you can see, with our transfer activity, we're going for the likes of Timo Werner. We've signed Timo Werner, we've signed Hakim Ziyech, and obviously we're looking at Kai Havertz. Those are 3 attackers. So it's quite clear that Frank is thinking, you know what, our attack isn't levels. This is the same thing that I was saying about Tammy Abraham at the beginning. At the beginning of the season, I was saying, oh yeah, I don't think Tammy is a long-term solution at first. Everyone's like, oh, he needs to give him a chance. Oh, he's not good enough. Oh, he's good enough. He's good enough. And then when he started scoring goals, they're like, oh, see, he's good enough. But I'm like, okay, yeah, he's scoring goals right now. But in the future, you need to start thinking about where you want to be in the future and what you want good enough for you to be challenging and being the big club that you are in the future. No. And that's it. In terms of Pulisic's impact, no one could deny that he's made a decent impact, 1,000,000%. And he's done his thing. But am I going to say that he's had a fantastic season? I wouldn't say he has. I wouldn't say he has at all. I'd say that he's had great moments. That's it. That's not to say that he's a bad player. It's like me saying Willian. I wouldn't say Willian objectively is a bad player. But I feel like they're good squad players to have. And in certain moments and certain instances in matches, you utilize them. That's, again, so it's not about you being a bad player. It's not about you being shit or not good enough for the club. I'm just like, I feel like there are other players out there that are better than you. So why wouldn't I want them? You get what I'm trying to say?
How much you pay for him again? 65, innit?
No, 60 million. £60 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a player that I think will be a squad player. That's why you get an element of, ooh, what was that?
So near Pépé fees.
Yeah, but then people ask the question, has he been better than Pépé?
He's done well.
Yeah, I think he's had better. I think Pulisic is better. I think Pulisic has been better because he's had better heights than Pépé.
He's better than Pépé.
I mean, I'd say he's better than Pépé. I'd say that he's had better highs than Pépé, better moments than Pépé as well. That showcase that he's got quality. And one thing you can't deny with Pulisic is he does have quality. He does have quality. The same way I feel like Pépé has some qualities. I wouldn't say that he's a great player though, but I feel Pulisic has got qualities, and he showed his quality against Man City the other day with that touch to get away from Mendy and then the finish. He's got quality, and one thing I do like about Pulisic is his composure. He's got a lot of composure in front of goal, and he's very cool. So we're talking about on Chesney in terms of like the comparatives between him and Mason Mount when it comes to their finishing and coolness in front of goal. We feel that I was saying that I think that stems from their personalities on the pitch and how they play. My biggest gripe with Pulisic is his lack of aggressive play, and he's not an aggravator. He's very somewhat passive and calm, but that also stands him in good stead when he's in front of goal, because he'll go in and in front of goal, he's very relaxed, he's very composed. Whereas someone like Mason Mount, who's buzzing around every single second, like dot, press, and not thinking about what's happening behind him. When you see Mount through on goal, you just think he's going to blast it because he's not got that level of composure that, say, a Pulisic has. So Pulisic has got great quality. We can't deny that. But in terms of him being my belief that his long-term position, I think his long-term position, in my opinion, will be a squad player, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, most good teams need good squad players.
Asking the rest of the panel.
You see, Puli, you know, is when he, what me to saying is what I said is why I didn't want him in regards to him being soft. So when he went Chelsea and when United fans were like, "Oh, we should have got Puli," I was like, he's a good player, but he's just soft, innit? And I'm just not on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's easily rattled. And at that time, like, I feel like Chelsea, in regards to manager and just the whole ethos and the direction of the team, seem in a better like condition in regards in comparison to United. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you look at, you know, looking to bring in young players, looking at some of the quality midfielders that they have. And I just feel like he's going to be afforded a luxury in Chelsea that he couldn't be afforded at Man United. Do you know what I mean? At that time, do you know what I mean? So obviously since then we've got Bruno and whatever. But I'm saying at that time, I just didn't want him for that. But I do think he's I do think he's a good player. And I definitely feel like he's got levels because he's still young, isn't it? He's really, really young. And I feel like he's definitely got another level. And how he kind of sucked in Mendy and how he finished, that was like probably a taster of what's to come. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, yeah, man. I feel like he's a good player, and I feel like I ain't gonna lie, man. It might be tight for Cho, you know. It might be tight for Cho in these streets, because.
Well, it can't be though, because you need to deep it. They've given Cho a lot of money and invested a lot in him, so something's got to give it, and that's why I'm really shocked that Chelsea is signing
Cho. Where are you now? Said you was gonna be there.
I was gonna ask me this as well. It's like, obviously, you guys have invested a lot in Cho, so you're signing all these other attacking talents. What's the plan? What do you think the plan's gonna be for him then?
For me, I wouldn't say that there's a set plan for anyone, to be honest. I feel like there's a lot of positions that are up for grabs, and that includes the new signings as well. Whilst you think, if you're spending £80 million on certain players that they should play, I don't think that necessarily really applies. But for me, I'm starting most of them. So I'm starting Ziyech, I'm starting Havertz, I'm starting... There will be casualties. And at the end of the day, there will be casualties, right? And you're going to either have to step up and up your levels or leave. And that's okay. Because my position has always been, look, I'm more than happy for the club to be spending 80, 90 million pounds on certain players. We're not bums. I'm not down to spending 50 million pounds on drinking water, 50 million pounds on Bakayoko, 27 million pounds. I'm buying top dollar players, fine, do that. Replace your youth players with your top quality players and make your youth players squad players. That is perfectly fine.
Which is what
I'm just not with the high spending on dead ballers. It's just not happening.
Which is what exactly I've been saying about Arsenal too. I think like Arsenal going about it the wrong way. You know, like how we've given Pablo Mari 5-year deals, how we've given what's the other guy, Cedric. Like, there's no way. I mean, I'm not saying this Arsenal young talents are as good as Chelsea's, because they don't tend to be. Chelsea tend to be a different level to Arsenal young players. But at the end of the day, you should be looking at cost saving at Arsenal. Arsenal ain't got that type of money. So why in the hell are we giving 5 years deals to bums when squad players should be your youth players? That's how it should. What Arsenal should be doing. That there's surely a centre back in the youth system that should be getting it instead of signing Pablo Mari. That's at least adequate enough to play, maybe like, because Mari won't play if he's not first selection. He's not going to play more than 10, 15 games a season. And giving that opportunity for youth players, them 10, 15 games will make a big difference to their development. Same as right back. Why are we signing Cedric? Cedric is a waste of money, because in 3 years, we're going to need to sell him, and who's going to buy him off us? I said this to quite a few Arsenal players and Arsenal fans who've agreed as well, that we're not doing things the correct way. What Mees said is perfectly summed up. Like, you're better off spending this large amount of money on top players, and that 50 million, rather than spend on some bums that drink water, use your youth players. There's no need for this like overspending.
So I think Liverpool tried to do, and that's why I'm not fussed. Like,
that's what you guys are doing.
To bring Nico in, I can see them trying to bring Harvey Elliott in. I can see them trying to progress youth players throughout, and that's why I'm not really as reactive as
my only worry for you lot though is that, like, if you want to dominate, if you lot are planning some domination, like, I see you're gonna let you do that. They're not gonna stand still this summer, because boy.
And that's the second time I've heard of Harvey Elliott. Bro, just because he puts his hair in a bun and that, don't mean he's saucy. Come on, don't mean he's saucy. Man doing a little ponytail thing like man's got ethnic skills and that. Relax, bro. In this current climate, bro, we ain't got time for that, man. We need sauce, real stuff right here, man. Come on, cuz, man. What about Brewster? That getting his hair cut.
That's you and Ellis still. That's you and Ellis.
Alright, cool. I was making sure.
I like Brewster, but I'm not putting.
Making sure.
I stopped doing
Say no more.
Right, calm.
I think he's better than Reece James, by the way.
Who's better than Reece James?
Nico Williams.
Ooh, that's a boy. I think Mees.
Wait.
Mees is writing that down.
Wait, one second. Wait. Is that Nico Williams? Is he that other mixed race you?
No, that's Curtis Jones, isn't it? Nico Williams, the white you, isn't it?
Right back.
Oh, okay. Because I remember watching one Liverpool game, and they put a mixed race scoot, and Mum's laugh. I saw Klopp said, just play like Trent. Donny was trying to whip it in from the halfway line. It wasn't even making sense. I was like, bruv, what are you doing? Just because you're mixed race, you don't mean you have to do this, bruv. Like, Donny was just trying to whip it, bruv. I was like, what are you doing, bruv?
He does his thing, man. He does his thing. He's the star boy that everybody's pushing for, but I don't think he's going to be the one. I think it's going to be Harvey Elliott still.
Who's the star boy? Is it Nico or Curtis Jones?
Jones. That's what everybody's pushing for.
He
Jones
can't be, though. What? He plays right back, right?
No.
Jones plays in CM. Yeah, like he's a CM/10.
Okay.
He scored a couple of goals, hasn't he? Didn't he score against
Everton? Yeah.
And he's from Liverpool as well, isn't he?
He's from Liverpool, yeah. He's a scarf.
Do you know what's mad with that Harvey Elliott? You know, when I look at him, yeah, obviously he didn't make it. This player didn't make it. Crowley, innit, from that came from Villa.
Yeah, you swore on him.
Fam, that was my boy, fam. But I'm still sad about him, though. Yeah,
season 3 at Vitesse, you were still.
Fam, I still watch. I was trying to keep. I had faith in it, but I look at Harvey Elliott, and I don't see. You see what Crowley was doing at the same age, innit? Like, I just don't see what Harvey Elliott.
Do you know what it is?
He's doing in comparison.
When
to
I've watched him, he's a really, really intelligent player, innit? The only thing I don't like about him at the moment is he's very diminutive. I think he's like 5'6" or 5'5", innit?
Yeah.
And you can tell in the Premier League, if he started, he'll get bullied.
He gets swallowed, yeah.
But the only thing that saves him is his technical ability. Like, he's got a wonder of a left
that's
foot.
my point, though. Like, I look at him and compare it to Crowley, bro. Like, I don't even
Crowley
see
was tiny, though. How small was Crowley?
Crowley was around the same height, maybe a bit taller, 5'8" or something.
Okay.
But Crowley, technically, yeah, like...
You man just got guessed off Crowley because of Wilshere, innit? You saw a little white young kid. White kids that could dribble past a couple players. And you're like, cool, this is gonna be the one.
No. Seb. I think with him, he was a terrible mismanagement by Arsenal. He should, in hindsight, he should never have gone to Arsenal. He should have stayed at Villa, broke through, done his thing, and then get a big move.
Yeah, like and people always say, you could always move when you've got equity. Yeah. When people are signing you because you've got a name, because then they have to play you. When they're signing you as a youth prospect, it comes down to your manager, you know, and that may not be the manager's goal.
Exactly. With Arsenal didn't really put a plan in place for him. You could see that because when he came, obviously he had a pre-season moment. He had his pre-season chance, but I think it was a Wenger thing. Like, he mismanaged quite a few young players. It comes to like Wilshere's long-term injury. That was partially. It's just like managing these kids well. I mean, I think Klopp will probably do that better than Wenger has with Elliott.
Hopefully so. But
I don't know, man. Like, that's a lot of faith to put in that Elliott. I think he's all right.
Just from watching him, like, I haven't seen a 16-year-old that can do what he has done in a while.
Okay, fair.
All right, that's some big praise there.
That's a big praise, though.
Yeah, we'll be watching. Don't you worry.
Yeah, and watch.
Yeah. Got a quick question from Babs, 98th. Who's performed best since football has returned, both as clubs and individuals? So, what club would you say has performed the best?
I think Southampton. You know, other than the Arsenal game.
Yeah. Seb? Olu?
I would say performed the best. I feel like everyone. I don't think like any team's actually been really, really good. Like I feel like the bigger teams, i.e., I feel like the teams that should be winning, like Liverpool and whatever, they've just been okay, passive. Man United have been okay, passive. Chelsea City game probably might put them up there for me. That might have probably taken them
touching our box, like. For the whole
but I'm saying that's what I expect. I'm not saying do you know what I mean? It's not you didn't do anything major. Do you know what I mean? I expect Liverpool to go and do
what you normally do,
do what you normally do in it. So I feel like the Chelsea City game maybe took it over the edge for me, and I'd say probably like Chelsea. I really, really love that game from Chelsea, to be honest. So
I'm gonna go Seb there. I think Chelsea being out of like the top 6 clubs, they've been the outstanding one. Because like everyone, I think after like lockdown, everyone probably thought, Chelsea probably might drop off, and it might give United a chance. I think the most disappointing has been Leicester, and they're in a lot of trouble right now because of that fixture list. I'm not sure they'll make top 4, which gives United a chance. In the bottom half, it's probably been Southampton and Newcastle have been all right. To be fair, they looked right. The 2 games I've seen them.
Cool. And who do you think the standout individuals have been?
So just to add to that, Wolves as well. Wolves have been really good.
Wolves have done
Wolves
what
have
they
been
do normally.
very, very strong. They know who they are.
Yeah.
They know who they are.
They know who they are.
So
They've just carried on from what they've been doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically, he hasn't missed a beat. What individuals do you think have stood out the most?
Probably since boy.
Yeah,
Oh, I know. Danny Ings.
Yeah,
Ings. Yeah, definitely.
Ings.
He had a quiet game against Arsenal, but he's there.
Ings, Pogba's been good. Saka's been good.
Saka.
Yeah, Saka probably.
Bernardo's been alright.
Martial's not shot.
Normal.
Martial, he's been alright.
He's not shot. No, he's not been alright. It's been good, bruv.
Did you see his face? Did you see his face there? That hurt him to have to say that.
You didn't mean it.
Sorry, bro. Man.
Like, we're known for keeping it real.
And then also you got to think about it and that. Yeah, you got other strikers that people call world class, i.e. Uber Eats. Not really doing much. So, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, just circle over there and
say no more.
I hear
you. That brother was warming up for the entire game. He tried to look and stare down.
He's gone, you know. He's gone. Hey, he's rattled. He's gone. He's been playing left wing. He's been playing rubbish. And on top of that, he warmed up for the whole game and then come on. Yeah. He's done, man. He's done.
Well, to be honest, he was going regardless, man. Even if he came on for that 20 minutes, probably. They need to cash in on him personally. I've been saying it, man. Burn the whole thing down, man. Start again, bro. Just burn it down, bro. But do you know what? Standout players. There's not really been Ben. Yeah, there's not been a lot.
It's still early, brother.
Yeah, it's still early.
We're still warms in, Babs. Got a question from Vikash Patel 94, long-time listener of the pod. The reason I know is his DP has never changed since he started listening to the pod. He's had the same DP. So good to hear that you're still listening, bro. If you haven't completed the survey that we sent out, please complete that. What do the panel think of Soyuncu? I think he's a bit overrated as he makes mistake after mistake, yet they barely get highlighted. That's a leading question there, Vikash. Just ask the question and the panel will answer.
I like that, Vikash. I like your style. I think you're learning from me still, because I know Vikash is always on me. So I like your style there, Vikash, because I'm happy to roll through on that agenda. I feel like Soyuncu was getting a bit of hype because Leicester were high flying. They had all the energy and they were doing really, really well. So if he did make a mistake, it was easily overlooked because Leicester were winning. On top of that, Maguire had just left. So the comparison was there. Oh, look at Soyuncu, so cheap. He's come in. He's not making no mistakes. He's with Evans. Look at Maguire. He's making mistakes. Man United are doing so bad. So when you take those two things that are happening simultaneously, you're like, all right, cool. I can find a way to boost up Soyuncu and overrate him. For me, I think he's a good player, but he's not all that. Like people were talking about my man's world class and whatever, but no.
That's a reach.
I wouldn't say world class.
He's not world class. I don't like. He's a world class. I think he's okay. I think he's a good player. But again, people need to rest. They need to take time because, like anything, it's about consistency. Yeah, you can have a good 6 months.
Yeah, you need to see it over a couple of seasons.
Can I do it over the season? Can I do it over a couple of seasons? Obviously, there's some players where you think, all right, cool. You are just that guy from the start.
Like VVD.
5 exactly.
Yeah.
Van Dijk. You're just that guy from the start, innit? Like i.e. Van Dijk, innit? But Soyuncu, you're not that guy, innit? So you know what I mean. You gotta relax there still.
To be fair, he believes in his wave, man. Man's got a new trim and that. He's doing it.
What are your thoughts, Meads?
I like Soyuncu, to be honest. I think he's a good defender. He can make mistakes, but no defender's perfect. And I don't think he's been making high-profile mistakes either. I just think that he's had a few failed defensive actions. That's fine. I think he's a sick defender. I think, again, in terms of PNP, his reading of the game as well, he's sick. I find the criticism quite harsh, to be honest, but opinion, isn't it?
Do you know what it is for me as well? I think they need to count for his age. This is his first full season in the Prem. He's only 23, and the thing is, I don't see. Well, he's not going. He's going to be at a top club within 3 years.
2-3 years. Yeah,
2-3 years. There's no way.
No, next year he will fall off. Leicester. Next year,
Seb. I think you're being harsh. I think he's actually
next year Leicester will fall off. Next year he will fall off, and we will laugh at this moment. Remember Soyuncu. It's going to be another. Remember that you. and we're gonna see.
I think that's harsh,
that's personal.
Yeah, we'll see,
that's
man.
personal because people.
Seb's only saying it because Maguire, innit?
We're gonna see.
Maguire,
we're gonna see.
Joke, man.
My captain. Don't you ever. Do you know what I mean? Don't you man ever disrespect my captain still.
Cool.
Nah, Soyuncu will be fine, man. I think it's like me just said, man. The mistakes not making, they're not high profile. It's not that peak, bruv. Like at the end of the day, he's still young, so young defenders are always going to make mistakes when they're young. They're still learning.
So he's got a lot of time.
Because what he's done, that's a massive jump. He's come from, we've been saying for time, and Bundesliga's defender is a bit questionable still, and he's come from Bundesliga. He's adapted for a year. He's having his first full season, and he's doing his thing. Obviously, Leicester will probably fall off, but I'm sure his individual performance is still going to show. Like, it still make clubs want him.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Got a question from Elliot online. Is Milner overlooked as a player for his longevity, adaptability, and honours in the Prem?
Allow it, mate.
Oh, man. Bob, we call him boring James Milner for a reason, man.
Yeah, he is very boring, but fundamentally,
I'm even tired
this is for my basketball fans. This is for my basketball fans.
Milner's done his thing, man. Don't get me wrong, but allow it, man.
Tim Duncan of football. That's what he is.
He's he's not the Tim Duncan of football.
He is, man. He is,
you know why that's bad, man? Because if I didn't watch basketball, that would go viral, and that would be attached to the Touchlinefracas name. He is not in any way Tim Duncan of football.
Nah, man, he is. Fundamental-wise, he's very, very solid.
Yeah, which is great, but he's not Tim Duncan.
He knows what he can do.
No. You got no.
It's like JaVale McGee. It's like JaVale McGee.
Nah, I can't have
don't you start.
No. Listen.
Don't you start.
No, bro. Listen, Milner gets his respect in it, but that's about it, man. He gets his respect. That's it.
You don't stay in the game as long as he stayed in the game.
He's got respect,
having that respect. But what more respect do you want for him?
There's nothing more you can dash at him, bro.
Do you know what it is? I don't think he should be heralded as one of the best midfielders in the Prem.
Because he hasn't been? No.
He hasn't been.
Of course.
I just want respect to him. That's it.
But he's respected.
He's got respect, though. He has got his respect.
I can't believe this discussion. I'm over it.
Do you know what it is? Milner. What you need to understand, what people don't realise is that from Villa days, Milner's always been respected, man. That's why he went to City. That's why he's done what he's done.
Yeah.
There's nothing more that you can do other than respect him. That's it. You can't call it. He ain't world class.
It's like people asking, we should give Gareth Barry respect. What the fuck?
Yeah,
what's happening here?
Very good veterans.
This is where it comes. Ryan Giggs, bro. Ryan Giggs is one of them guys as well, bro. Everyone's
not.
Do you know what? Hey, Seb, don't start, fam. Don't start, Seb.
I was slapping Relax your face, bro.
Behave yourself.
Seb, don't watch that, fam.
Behave yourself. If we start, yeah, exactly. You start telling us to chill.
Right, don't get onto my legends either, fam.
If I start talking about certain men that have a statue, if I talk about certain men that have a statue outside,
chill, bro, chill, relax.
That was scared to fly. That was scared to fly. If I speak about certain man,
cool.
Yeah.
But the dashboard.
Yeah, and we've got our final question is from Jude Adewasi, who's winning the FA Cup. So I'm going to go around and ask all of you. So, Olo, who do you think's winning the FA Cup?
City. I'll go for City still.
Marco, that's an objective. City. Seb?
I'd go Chelsea. City don't have no Aguero. He's out.
Oh, he's out for the season?
Yes, out for the season. Defense still looks a bit shaky. And I like the way how Chelsea took it to them the last game. So I'd probably go Chelsea.
Quick question. Is Gabby Jesus back?
He's been
and I don't think Lampard is letting Oli beat him for the fucking fourth time. It just doesn't happen in the season. Don't think it's going to happen. So, yeah, I feel like Chelsea winning the FA Cup.
Cool. Sweet. Meads, who do you have winning the FA Cup?
Either United or Chelsea.
Okay, sweet. With that being said, I want to thank you all once again for coming on the pod this week. Marco, congratulations. Enjoy. The rest of you. Yeah.
I won't let you lot forget. Fuck it.
Yeah, sure. Rest of you, lads, thank you very much for your time.
That's up, man.
Stay safe. Take care.
Yeah, man.
Take it easy.
Peace. Bye-bye.
When I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.